Welcome to Dapscast. I'm Mr. Daps. Hi-ho, Kermit the Frog here.
I'm Mary the Bellhop.
I'm Annie. And I'm Caitlin.
And I'm Danny.
Oh,
perfect. Everybody's here. We're joined by Caitlin this month, this week, this bi-weekly...
This Dapscast.
This Dapscast, because we've actually had quite a few of them, just not all of us, because we've had some events come up, and a lot of them were revolving around Disneyland's 60th anniversary, the Diamond Celebration, and we won't rehash all of the news for that, but we will talk about what we think about it, because so far people have only heard what I think about it, what Murray thinks about it, right? So let's start with anything you're interested in. How about the diamonds on the Castle and Carthay Circle restaurant? What do you guys think of that?
So
I think it's gonna
pretty.
look really cool.
So pretty and so cool. That was so eloquent.
Sparkly.
Sparkly.
Bedazzled.
Bedazzled.
It's definitely the most female response I can muster.
That's totally fine. All right, we'll move right on from there. Paint the Night. The new electric parade is going to be coming on May 22nd. What do you think of that? Anybody?
It's the one thing that I'm looking forward to the most.
The most?
The most.
Over everything for the 60th?
Yeah.
Why?
I like the electrical light parade, so to have something back that's like it, it's just exciting.
How long has it been since Disneyland or California Adventure has had an actual night parade?
Well, since the electric parade left. Was that 07?
Or if you
08?
count Light Magic.
But that was before that. That was...
Before it came
Oh,
back.
before, that's right, because it was at California Adventure after.
So it's been almost a decade, I feel like. I think it's been 7 or 8 years.
I think the last time I saw it was in 08 in California.
I think it was
Adventure.
08 too
Yeah.
when it ended. We don't have Roger Rabbit to be our historian tonight, so we're just out of luck on that one. Let us know in the comments when the electric parade ended. What do you guys think of the new electric parade known as Paint the Night?
I really want it to be good.
The
I'm
pictures look
gearing-
incredible.
Yeah, it looks really good, and I want it to succeed. I don't want it to be another Light Magic.
I don't think it's going to be. Danny, you said it looks incredible?
From what I'm seeing in the pictures, I'm really happy with the floats and the setup. But to be fair, I think for me personally, it's been about 20 years since I've seen an electric light parade at Disney. So I think I'm definitely ready for that type of parade to make a comeback, because I think that was always my favorite. It's such a great space that I don't know. To me, that's Disney, and I think Disney does it well, and I really hope this parade works out.
I feel like it will. Like, it's got the lights, it's going to be fun to photograph, it's going to be fun to film. I like what I've seen of the Hong Kong Disneyland version, and like, it looks fun to me over there, and I'm assuming it won't be super different than what they have. So I think it'll be fun. I don't know if it's going to be my favorite, though. Like, I think I'm going to enjoy it a lot. I'm going to diverge from Murray. I actually am looking forward to... I think the fireworks the most, which is Disneyland Forever, and they're going to use the projection technology everywhere, and it'll be an explosion of light, color, and sound with explosions in the air, so it'll be even better. Anybody else?
Plus fire.
Plus fire. And if they could use the Indiana Jones effect, even better, because that'd be the real fire, and I don't know. That's the one I'm looking forward to the most, and I really hope the soundtrack is good. Like, to me, everything comes down to soundtrack. And
They always do great on soundtracks, though.
always?
I think so.
Most
I don't
of the
think there's ever been one that was horribly bad. Like, there are some fireworks shows where you go to... You're smirking at me. Oh, yeah, we're all in the same studio, FYI.
I'm going to plead the fifth, except for Danny. She's in the
I
other
know,
studio.
I'm the sad little lonely person.
Only
It's
little
okay, I've got my
Danny
cats,
Islands. Yeah.
which is probably even more sad.
But I think I have been at theme parks where the soundtrack itself is really bad.
True.
Where I don't want to watch the fireworks because they're not Disney fireworks.
Because a 16-year-old with a keyboard recorded it or
Pretty
something.
much.
Yeah. Not that 16-year-olds can't be incredibly talented, but it's not to the level of Disney orchestration that we've come to expect since forever. But
I think they'll step it up.
I think it'll be fantastic. I like that they're keeping it shorter too, instead of making it 17 minutes and then deciding, hey, 17 minutes is too long, we're going to shorten this, like they did Remember Dreams Come True. And they're flat out saying it's going to be 12 to 14 minutes long, which I appreciate. Like, I think that's a reasonable thing to do. and makes it very doable. I'll be curious to see how like flow of traffic for people goes, because I really want to just walk around during the fireworks and see different projections at different parts. In fact, one of the things I'm looking forward to doing is a walk through the park with my GoPro and literally see how far I can get from Main Street to wherever during one fireworks show and film it, because I think people will actually watch it. Let us know in the comments.
I think it'd be interesting
That's all
to see.
Yeah, I think it, like, they liked, I walked around the backside of World of Color and people watched it, so.
But that's a very scary thing to me overall for the 60th anniversary, because there's a lot going on at night. So you've got Phantasmic, you've got fireworks, you've got the parade, and it's almost all at the same time. So,
and don't forget World of Color and Mad Tea Party in the other park.
But that's at the other park.
True.
I mean, like, just Disneyland trying to walk around.
Yeah.
I don't know.
In like that 2-hour time span.
Yeah.
Do you think the projections are an idea to help with the crowd flow so that you can be back almost by the train station and still be able to see everything?
Oh, yeah, it's totally making, especially the lower half, I guess you could say, of Main Street a better place to stand, whereas traditional fireworks, you've always wanted to be as close to the hub as you possibly can, because that's just the best of the best. And if, even with the preview, they had fireworks shooting off all the way down Main Street during the end of their little demonstration, and if that ends up happening, that means you could literally be in town square and have a fantastic place to watch. And that could be a game changer for them too in terms of guest flow. And they've got those new walkways on either side too, so that should help also. But I just think it'll be fun if you could literally walk from Main Street past the Matterhorn all the way up to Small World and see projections everywhere.
I feel like Small World would be a cool place to see it from. Like, I would just want to know what kind of projections, like how they'll do it on Small World.
Yeah.
Because that'll be really cool.
I think it'll be nice not having to jockey for position,
Yeah.
significantly before a show, which I think is really kind of the only downside to really any of the nighttime shows is, I feel like you can always feel when it's about an hour before a show because people have that like crazed look in their eye, where if you stand next to them, pain may happen.
You stepped on my blanket. Did you step on my blanket?
This is where I watch fireworks.
That's my blue blanket.
So I think if it kind of expands throughout the park, it's much more preferable than being bummed because you don't have that one specific spot. You can still enjoy the whole show.
I completely agree with you. Let's jump over to DCA, and we've got a new World of Color show coming. Any thoughts on that? Is that what they're most excited about for anybody else?
I'm super excited. One of my friends and I were actually talking about it yesterday. I said I'm excited for World of Color because I don't know what to expect for it. I kind of have an idea for Paint the Night because they have it in Hong Kong, and the fireworks seem kind of reminiscent of Disney Dreams in Paris. So I think for World of Color, it's like I have no idea what to expect. And so I'm really excited for that because I feel like it'll be completely new.
I'm betting like lights and fountains.
But I mean, just like
projections,
There may even be fire.
music.
Walt Disney.
Yeah.
bubbles, probably.
I really enjoyed that show, and the last time I saw it was the last time I was at the park, and my husband had only been to the park one time before that, and he was very, very young and didn't remember anything about it. And he still talks about that show and how much he loved that show. So I think if it's anywhere near as good as it has been, which I don't expect them to really fail me too hard, I think it's still going to be a lot of fun to watch. And we watched it from like right at the gate, so you could feel the flames on your skin, and it was great because we were right there. We kept getting shot at by the water jets.
Yes.
So the fire was kind of a welcome relief from the coldness of being damp. So that's another show where you have to carefully judge where you stand.
It's so true. We got a really good spot when we recorded. I guess it was the last time we were able to see the original show in its current format or whatever. I felt like we turned out pretty good. It was Caitlin and Murray and I. Remember, we had fun on the filming it.
That was the Christmas one.
Was that the
I think it
Christmas
was
one?
the Christmas one.
Never mind.
It
That was
was.
the
Just
Christmas
kidding.
one. I don't remember.
Sorry.
I actually have high expectations for this. I think it's gonna be even better than the original show. If other than the fact that it's not a completely new type of show anymore. Like, we know what to expect when it comes to World of Color. But I think the concept behind it will be really awesome. You guys
I'm curious which shows they'll focus on and draw from which movies, because I think that was half the fun of I didn't see the holiday show. I only saw the original show. I remember the people saying that the holiday show had a lot of Frozen elements, but the original show didn't so much.
Caitlin
so
loved
I'm
it.
interested to see if they bring in any of the newer movies as well as keeping the older ones, because there's always something fun about seeing your favorite pop up and going, I know that one.
I would be shocked if they put in Muppets and Really Happy. That just popped into my head.
I'd like to see Big Hero 6, even though it doesn't really have any,
That wouldn't surprise me at all, actually.
Themes. It would
Like, I
still
could
be really
see
nice to
Baymax flying through or something.
That'd be cool.
Right?
Is
Like-
there a theme? Do we know any kind of theme?
Yeah,
Walt
it's
Disney.
It's the history of...
No, really no.
No,
it is.
yeah.
It's the history of Walt Disney and Disneyland Resort.
Oh.
So I feel like it could
And
be
I feel like it's very
early.
Mickey-centric. Is that correct? Like, it looks... And that, I
Okay.
think, is awesome, too, because I just think Disney California Adventure could always use more Mickey. Like...
Not
he's-
Oswald.
Because that big face on the Ferris wheel isn't enough.
No, it's not. It needs to be more animated. It needs to like throw things at you. And, I don't know. I want more Mickey. But
3D.
yeah, 3D. Wait, that's Muppets again. Let's go over there now. So Mad Tea Party is where the Muppets used to be, or will be back, and it'll be back on May 22nd. And it's funny because when they got rid of Mad Tea Party, the whole internet exploded with, "Oh no, don't get rid of Mad Tea Party!" And then a couple days ago they announced it, and I felt like the internet exploded again with, "Don't bring it back!" Was that just me, or did anybody
I
else?
only
see
saw
that?
positive.
Like, I saw some positive, but it was definitely equal. Like,
Yeah, I felt it was
I
very
think people
mixed.
probably just got used to the idea and they weren't expecting to see it so quickly. I think even we had said we'd probably see it around expect to see it around October. But
yeah, I was expecting to come back, and I wasn't sure if it'd be back that soon. But I don't know why it's such a shocker, because they basically told us that's when it was coming back.
Well, I don't know why they, really had to announce it as a closure, because I felt like there was kind of this feeling of finality that we obviously don't have. So why not just say, it's being reworked, it's being refurbished.
I don't even think the people involved in it knew. I think enough people made a big enough stink about it that it.
I think
I
you're
don't know.
close. I actually think that if you walk through on a Sunday night, or I haven't been on a Saturday night, but Friday nights, the difference in attendance to the night, what is it, Frozen Freeze the Night, versus
Yeah.
a night of Mad Tea Party is, like, the energy's not there in the same way. There's not that fan base that was there immediately for Mad Tea Party. Like, Mad Tea Party, I think it's really the band and the relationships they had with their fans.
Yeah.
And it's just not the same. Like, there's some great talent there, but it just doesn't have that fan base that Mad Tea Party. And if I were in charge, I would recognize that pretty quickly too, and be like,
But-
"Oh, we got to get it back and get people back."
Here's my question:
Mm-hmm.
Are they going to bring back the same band members?
Well, I'm sure it'll be a re-audition. So if they choose to re-audition and they get their positions back, yes.
If they don't, I'm just saying if they don't, is it going to have the same feel as what people
I think so.
want?
I think enough of them will be back that it won't be an issue. I kind of think it'll be fine.
But my question is, they're saying it's for the Diamond Celebration, so it's going to be sparkly or something. I'm like,
Sparkly.
what are they going to do? Exactly,
Well,
Throw
isn't
confetti.
Alice's dress already kind of sparkly? A little bit.
Oh, there's definitely
Like,
some sparkles.
Just bedazzle them
already,
and they'll be
yeah.
fine, right?
I feel like it's more.
I think we just
neon
need
than
to
anything.
fully dive into glitter punk and make that a thing.
Let's start it.
They might. They've already
Glitter
done
punk.
focus groups and
Glitter
everything.
That needs to be a new hashtag.
Glitter punk.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah, when this goes out.
I see a future anthology.
Can it be like Spinal Tap?
Only if I get the world's smallest Stonehenge and cover it in glitter.
I think we could make that happen. That would be really
Amp
cool.
set go to 11.
Yes.
Need that. Yeah.
That's doable. We can
Yeah.
make that happen. We need a microphone that goes to 11. Just saying. Spider-Man is coming to the Marvel Cinematic Universe. What are your thoughts? I'm really hoping Danny and Murray have something
actually,
on this.
I was going to jump in, but I
Okay,
didn't want
please.
to. So here's the funny thing. On Saturday, we had our first open meeting for Phoenix Comic-Con. That's in the planning stages. And for some reason, the first thing everybody wanted to talk to me about was Spider-Man, which I think is great. And people kept trying to test my trivia of, did I know who was auditioning and who is this and that? And I don't know what it is, because there's the internet rumor going around that Dylan O'Brien and Logan Lerman are both being auditioned for the role because they're, younger.
Right.
And so everybody kept asking me about that, because it is well known that I have a certain affinity for Dylan O'Brien that is age appropriate, because he is a youngin'. And so everybody's like, Spider-Man, what do you think? And to be honest, my one and only feeling on the entire subject is, if they reboot it and they do another origin story,
They won't.
I may lose my mind.
They can't do another origin story.
They can't. We will riot in the streets.
I don't know that I would even go to that movie.
Well, not only that, I feel like at this point in life, there are 3 things that every single human being on the planet knows. We know that Peter Parker is Spider-Man, we know that Batman is Bruce Wayne, and we know that Superman
Is Clark Kent.
is Clark Kent. Wow. Sorry, my brain just broke.
I'll stand on that one. I got you. I got your back, Danny.
Yeah, and he's got
There's
it. So
there's a fourth thing that Uncle Ben
really
stays
don't
dead.
think-
That's yeah. When you're dead, you're dead. No, you're not, because this is Marvel.
True.
Anyway, sorry. Continue, Danny.
Well, and I was kind of hoping to get away from Peter Parker, maybe move down the line and Spider-Man's, and maybe I loved the what was going around for getting Donald Glover.
yeah, I did too.
cast.
Actually, that looks fun.
I would have watched
I would
the
too.
Jesus out of that film, but somebody's like, well, he's the same age as the kid they're firing, so that really wouldn't make much sense if they're going for younger.
But do you really think it's an age thing with him?
No,
I don't think it's an age
I think
thing.
it's a contract thing.
I think it's a contract thing, an attitude thing, and a everything working together, a synergistic thing.
Yes.
Like, you really have to be part of the team to make this work, and if you're not a team player, I just don't think Marvel's going to want to work with you.
Exactly. And not to say that Andrew Garfield is difficult or anything in that realm. I just think that a lot of puzzle pieces had to fall into place to make this work at all. So I don't necessarily mourn his loss in the sense that I wasn't terribly moved by the new trilogy. I think it was very well done, but I felt like it was a lot of the same. I'm probably going to get a lot of angry emails about that.
Either.
Yeah. And so, we move on to a new young actor. If it is one of those 2 gentlemen who get the role, like I said, I do like Dylan O'Brien. I think anybody who watches Teen Wolf, me and those 5 other people know that he's got a lot of range for his young age, and I see a lot of potential in him. So I wouldn't necessarily argue against it. I don't know that either one of those actors are really the right way to go in that instance, but I'm happy to see Spider-Man work with the Avengers. It's one of those things that I feel like at this point we're so oversaturated with Spider-Man that nobody's really that interested anymore.
It's true.
Mm-hmm.
I would have preferred them to bring in some more esoteric members of the Avengers and, put more effort into the productions they've already got going
Then they wouldn't get that
movie.
awesome merchandising.
And to me, that's probably all it
I think that's a
comes
huge
down
part of
to.
I think it could also be the Oswald syndrome, too, where there's that emotional connection with the character.
Oh, sure.
And so I would think the powers that be at Marvel have a personal,
Well, and I think if I were an exec at Marvel, I would probably be thinking that selling off their properties was probably the worst decision they ever made.
Oh, yeah.
And it has definitely resulted in some of the worst Marvel movies I've ever seen made. So I think if they can get their
superhero movies in general.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So I think if they can get the property back, they want to. And creating this kind of buzz is a good way to do it, because then, maybe this opens them up to purchase back some of their other property and make films based on those, which I know a lot of people would also like to see.
So the question then becomes is how do they reintroduce him or introduce him into the Avengers? Like
Personally, I don't even think it's going to be
happen?
hard. I think the beauty of the Avengers is it's such a large ensemble that I feel like, assuming the script is reasonably well written, you can. I think if Guardians of the Galaxy proved anything, it's we don't care. We will watch a raccoon with a shotgun. Just give us a good story and give us good action. I don't care where he's from. I don't care where he's going.
We watched a
just
tree.
let him be
Forget
awesome.
about
With one line. You're right. And we want one on Geeks Corner, so yeah.
Exactly.
Yep, you're right. I'm curious to see familiarity and how he has relationships with the Avengers when he does come in, though.
I really hope it is reflective of the comics and the cartoon series that have subsequently been made, because I think his kind of like underdogness within that group and, you know, the way he's treated is probably one of the funnier aspects of that relationship. And I would really hope to see that.
Me too.
But,
Murray, do you have something, Dad?
I was thinking about Civil War, and I don't know if that's the best story to introduce Spider-Man into the Marvel Studios movies. Just because, like, it's Captain America for one thing. So now it's getting more and more away from Captain America. Like, you have Iron Man in it.
So you have Boy Scout 1 and Boy Scout 2, yes.
Yeah. But now, like, Spider-Man's such a big news story. I think he's going to, I don't know, maybe eclipse Captain America in the movie. Like, it's just not a Captain America
Assuming
movie.
he survives.
The only reason I would argue against that is I think it's really what we've learned from the past two Captain America films is it's very, very hard to eclipse this particular portrayal. I'm really impressed with what Chris Evans has done with the role. And they would, in my opinion, have to cast somebody pretty spectacular to be Spider-Man to kind of eclipse how perfectly Chris Evans has really played that.
So you're saying they should...
And like I said, as much as I do like Dylan O'Brien, I do like Logan Lerman, if those are the kind of actors they're looking for, I'm not really sure it's going to be that huge of a breakout role.
Well, they could use motion capture with Bill Murray.
Bill Murray, I would see that film. But I think that's an entirely different type of movie.
With his voice and everything as Spider-Man.
I don't know where that came from, but it was there. So
I don't know but that reminds me of that Garfield movie. And
yeah,
we all remember what happened there.
That was that sad.
But I think Civil War is a little bit of a problem. Being a fan of the whole story in the comics, like, it was about all the superheroes and that they're taking sides, and then you have each team sort of headed up by the big guns of Captain America and Iron Man. And so again, like, I don't have anything against it being Captain America and in that movie, but it's a broader story. It's really about...
Talk about a challenge for whoever's coming in, too. Like, he has to work up with all of these actors that have huge reputation and talent and everything else, and then you have to...
And they've already established their characters, too.
Yeah, established characters. Yeah, that'll be interesting.
I think it'll be interesting because if you think about it, some of the biggest characters in Civil War are no longer Marvel properties. So my question then becomes, how do we change the plot to reflect that and still kind of stick true to the story?
It's a good question.
Especially without, like the Fantastic Four and X-Men. It's going to be a little strange.
Well, you're going to have people that look like them with different names.
Sure.
We'll just switch the genders or whatever.
Yeah.
Invisible Man and Mrs. Fantastic.
I think I've seen this cartoon.
They're making it no, it's a Guardians of the Galaxy cartoon, speaking of. It just announced casting today, and I forgot what it was, but that's another segment some other time. Let's end this segment with who is your favorite MCU character, that'd be Marvel Cinematic Universe. Somebody in the movie. I didn't know if you were looking blankly at me.
I do know that.
I know we went a little bit geek there on you. But anyway, favorite MCU character. Girls go first.
Take it.
Okay. If my T-shirt collection is any reflection, then I would have to go with Loki.
Oh, okay.
Mine's definitely Captain America. It's kind of
Really?
super obvious.
If you want to see, go to
How
Caitlin
many shields
Noel
are
on
you wearing
Instagram.
today?
Yeah.
Her shoes are amazing,
let's see.
and I'm jealous.
And
They are pretty. Captain
you can get
America loves
shoes
them.
like them from Annie, and you can find her Facebook, which
Yes.
is what?
My-
Annie Hobbs Illustration. Is that where you get the shoes?
Annie Hobbs illustration. Yeah.
There you go. And what's your favorite? Who's your favorite?
I like Captain America and Black Widow just because I just
Okay.
hit the table.
I
on
do
her.
love my widow. She is lovely.
Oh, me?
Yeah, that's
I would
what,
say-
when I point at you, that means you go next.
I'll just stare at you blankly. I would actually say Iron Man for the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Okay, and I go Captain America, so he wins.
Yes.
I didn't know it was a contest.
Yeah, wait a minute.
It
Oh,
wasn't.
ganging up. Wait, I changed my answer.
It wasn't until everybody kept saying Captain America, and I'm like, well, that's not fair. But anyway.
I would just like to point out that I am the only one who chose a villain.
Yeah.
So I'm probably the one that's going to end up starting the Civil
we
War.
might have to take diplomatic Danny away and make it something else.
No, that's pretty diplomatic because you gotta
Balance it
Even
out.
out the sides.
Exactly.
Okay.
Dark and light. Feel free to, bow at my feet.
There-
I would not be
Or
opposed.
Neil. That just slipped right in there.
Kneel.
Free.
will the cat do that?
My cats will not kneel.
Oh, you better
For
work on
anybody, really.
that. Even Loki. Yeah. Dapper Day is coming to Disneyland on March 1st, I believe, and this is the time where everybody dresses up, unless you're me and you do it every Sunday anyway. And you know how many times this last month, as I'm getting on the bus at Toy Story, they're like, "Oh, is it Dapper Day today?"
You should not
I'm
be
like-
dapper on Dapper Day.
Oh.
And mix
I like
everybody
that.
up. Be like, who's that guy?
Nobody would know who I am. But anyway, Dapper Day will be March 1st, and so we thought we'd give you a few ideas for how to prepare for that without breaking the bank. And this is completely unprepared. This is just off the top of our head. So I'm going to go first just to give everybody else time to think. And if you want to go dapper for Dapper Day and not spend a lot of money, you can go down to your local thrift store. And especially, I'm going to just talk about guys because I don't know anything about the girl stuff. But you can get a dapper outfit for under $20, I would say, if you do some shopping. Few tips I would say is get a shirt that fits. If it doesn't, you're just going to look a little bit ridiculous. I'm sorry. But take somebody with you that will know if the shirt fits or not. Same with the jacket. If you're going to wear a jacket, I actually wouldn't suggest wearing a jacket because generally it's a really... Yeah, you can take your mom. There's nothing wrong with that. I would not suggest wearing a jacket because usually it ends up being really warm on Dapper Day and everybody regrets it. So suspenders are fun instead, or a vest. And that kind of replaces those. I'm partial to the bow tie. Get a freestyle bow tie because that's a real one. And if you wear a clip-on, you just shouldn't wear it to Disneyland because I just don't think that's acceptable.
Well
He will
then.
smack your clip-on off.
I will carry scissors on. But if you don't know how to do it, there are some YouTube videos out there that will help you. Just practice a few times, and I actually find it easier than tying a necktie now. But if you want to wear a necktie, that's fine too. Make sure your belt and your shoes match and are the same colors, because if they don't, you are failing at being dapper. Also, that is not dapper to have them not match, right?
Yes.
And if you really want to go all out, your shirt and your socks should match also. That's not as... My shirt and my socks
I
match
believe
today.
you. I don't know men's dapper fashion, so
And then finally, I like to add a hat. Obviously, I wear a trilby, but you can pick the kind of hat you want also, and make sure that fits. Also, if it's really big, you won't look so good. So, but you can get all of that for under $20 if you do your shopping, and you do it early as opposed to waiting until a couple days before, and then you're gonna have to go on Amazon and rush deliver, and that's not so good. All right, girls, or Murray. Do you have any ideas for Dapper Day costumes or Disney bounding for Dapper Day too? Or guidelines?
The first thing that I always do is I always try to find inspiration. Do I want a Disney bound as a dapper style, or do I want to just be vintage dapper, that kind of thing? What? Why are you giggling?
There's a noise.
Oh, okay. But I go on Etsy all the time just to look at stuff. You don't have to buy anything. Just look on Etsy. Look 50s, 60s, whatever decade that you're looking to get inspiration from. And then after looking at that, even pin stuff on Pinterest. You don't buy anything. Just look. Go in your closet and see what you have, because I guarantee you already have pieces in your closet that you can use. I pulled out a full skirt. I pulled out kind of like this lacy top, and I'm gonna wear a wide belt. I don't know, maybe I'll even bring out one of the pirate corsets that looks kind of
Traditional or whatever.
Dapper traditional, as a pirate.
Because that was back in the 50s.
Of course.
Yeah.
You can also, if you don't have that, if you don't have a few pieces, you can, this is just another option. I'm not saying that you have to do this, but if there are theater companies around you, you can also call them and ask if they have rentals that you can do. I know in this area, Fullerton Civic Light Opera has a costume department that I personally have rented from previously. I'm sure they have a price list of things that you can get, whether it's a skirt, petticoat, anything that you would need. You can also check into stuff like that, thrift stores around here. But I would start on Etsy and Pinterest just to get an idea.
I think that's a great idea. Anybody else have any suggestions?
My two biggest suggestions, I totally agree, shop your closet first. But I always find, specifically when it comes to Dapper Day, the hardest part about creating that costume for me, because I do a lot of Disney bounding and I do a lot of costuming outside of Dapper Day, the hardest part for me is the hair and the shoes. Because I am not the person who can wear heels to Disneyland all day long. I would die or I would break an ankle. So my first thing would be, if you are going to splurge on any part of your costume, do make it your shoes. For me, I would say that the most versatile Dapper shoe you could find would probably be a saddle shoe, which you can find on Amazon, which provides a Dapper looking flat. Because again, I can't walk in heels. If you can walk in heels, you are an amazing human being, and you should.
Or just crazy.
Or crazy. I can't do it, so I don't. I love having that option of the saddle shoe or any Oxford, anything in that realm. As for the hair, I am terrible at doing hair, but I am lucky enough to have quite a few friends who are pinup models or do burlesque. And they are all magic at doing victory rolls and pin curls. And a lot of my friends offer styling classes for pinups. So what I would suggest is, like Murray said, make sure that you start your costume ahead of time and see if you can find people like that in your general vicinity who can teach you how to do it properly so that you can do it quickly. Because the last thing you want to do when you wake up in the morning is go, oh darn it, how do I do that again? And then there is always the option that Disney, I do believe they have hair and makeup on site if you are
books
able.
Up really fast.
But that's just it, is it books up really fast. So I would highly suggest finding somebody ahead of time to teach you so that you don't have to walk in there with the full outfit, but your hair's all a mess.
Has
guys,
amazing
just get a hat.
YouTube is good.
I did that for a couple shows. I went on YouTube a couple nights before even tech rehearsals started, just to figure out what the heck I was going to do with my hair.
And really,
it takes
YouTube's
practice.
everything.
YouTube has really kind of changed the way I do anything.
Like I just did a quick search on how to dress Dapper, and there's like 5 million responses or 11,500 results. So if you can't figure it out, there's your spot.
Beautiful thing about the internet. Well, and there's so many Tumblrs, and if you Google anything, you can find it. And luckily, Dapper Day and Disney Bounding have become insanely popular. So there's a lot of source material out there to help you figure out your outfit ahead of time.
And we would just suggest practice every Sunday, and then when Dapper Day comes, it's no big deal.
Yep.
Right?
That's what I do.
Yeah, me too.
Well, I would say for guys, this is probably a lot easier than
Just wear a
girls.
hat.
Sorry, but well,
Just
yes,
wear a hat.
But just in general, like I'll think of costumes or other stuff as like, is there something that I could buy that I'm gonna wear again?
Yeah,
So
definitely.
even if you spend
Yes.
more than $20, at least like you're gonna wear it again. So
Yeah, because you can buy some nice pants for ever, and they'll last forever if you're normal guys, nice pants. And I feel like, am I wrong?
Nope.
Okay.
No.
They should.
I think
They're all
Annie
laughing
and
at me, and I'm like, no, they really do. They last a really long time because it's not like we're going out and working in the yard or anything in them. They're dress pants, and same with dress shoes. Like, you don't go through them super fast, so it's an
I think
investment.
Annie is like me, where every costume piece is special and needs to be added to our closet. I'm going here in Arizona. We have the Renaissance Festival going on right now, and I decided that I wanted to do a Disney-esque bound for it. So I decided to do Pirate Ariel. And every piece I bought was pretty cheap, easy to throw together with what I already had in the closet, and I already love every piece, including the red wig. I'm having the most fun with that.
So is this completely done now?
It is completely done. Yes,
Nice.
I haven't worn it out yet,
Okay, I was gonna say I haven't
but
seen.
I
just saw the
now
wig.
have all the pieces.
We didn't get an
and-
updated picture.
Yeah, we need it for the blog
Okay, I will. I can probably do that.
because then we can put it with this episode, and it'll be fantastic.
I like it. I will have to. I have all the equipment I need to do that.
Fantastic. All right, so if you have more questions about how to dress for Dapper Day, you can definitely find us on the Twitter or just hit contact us on dapsmagic.com, and one of us will respond. I'll delegate it out to someone else probably, but
I like that you call it the Twitter.
The Twitter.
it sounds cooler. I don't know. I like the Twitter.
I say the Twitter. But I use hard T's.
A girl went back to Napoli because she
All right, let's go to something sad now. Luigi's flying tire. Okay, maybe it's not that sad. It's a little bit sad. Luigi's flying tires has been retired. Hey,
You didn't mean to do that?
oh.
Oh my god.
But it's getting a facelift and replaced by something that will be more car centric as opposed to tires. So last night it had its final flight, and we went and recorded it. And does anybody have any feelings one way or the other on the retiring of Sorry, I did it again. Luigi's flying tires.
Daps has gone punny. Not really. I mean, I don't have kids, so I don't really spend that much time in places where.
I feel like it was a very kid-centric.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
the people that I know that really do care are the people with younger kids that really loved it, and then also the people that went on the original version in Tomorrowland years and years ago. And for me, it was kind of one of those things. Yeah, that's fun, but it wasn't. Like, I think I wrote it when Cars Land first opened, and I wrote it this
Yeah.
weekend, and that was okay. Like, Murray, do you have thoughts?
I was actually a little surprised at myself that I wasn't too sad about it closing, because I kind of liked it, but
I liked
was
the
fine.
music better than I liked
Yeah.
the attraction.
Yeah.
Like, the music I love.
I will say I got to finally do what I had been trying to do for going on many times. I figured out that if there's like a clear path, you can get going really fast. So I actually had a
5
clear
miles an
path
hour.
last time. Yeah. I hopped the fence and everything. It's not that bad. But no, it was really fun. Like, you'd be surprised at how those things get going if there's, I guess, no friction of other people. Other people and tires. Not like you're running over people. I don't want to.
Yes. There's no. Yes, none of that. Anybody else have opinions on this?
I think I did it
I was
once.
gonna say, did you go on it?
I think I
did
did
they
it
still
the-
have the balls?
I did it the very last day that they had the beach balls, because then
It
the
was
next
your
day
fault.
it was my fault. No, as long as they have Guido somewhere in the attraction for the next part, I'm okay.
I can't imagine them not.
Like,
Like,
they
I
have
think
to.
I think they'll still be there. Yeah, it's kind of one of those weird historical moments where,
Yeah.
like, we haven't really had an attraction like this just yanked out since I think they put in Winnie the Pooh, maybe. Like, I guess
Rocket
Malibu.
Rods.
Rocket Rods was so
but Rocket
short-lived.
Rods was.
That had problems.
That one was a problem since, yeah. Also Maliboomer, but it wasn't replaced by anything.
Don't bring that up.
Oh, and California Dreams. Now that we, they're all in
Yeah.
California Adventure apparently, but and don't forget
Superstar
Millionaire.
Limo.
Oh my gosh, I never did that.
And Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? So
Yeah.
now that I made this statement, I was completely wrong. There's a lot of attractions we've worked out through the years, but maybe justly because we kind of forget about them.
I think it's just cool to see where it started. They tried.
Mm-hmm.
They tried to bring it back, but I think the most exciting thing for me is that I have one of the beach balls, so
Oh, there you go.
What?
We
Yeah.
won't ask.
special sources.
Special sources is Disney police show up at Yanni's house.
I didn't steal it. I
Okay,
did not steal
I'm
it.
glad to hear that. Yeah, I actually feel like more connected to some of the shows that have been replaced through the years than I do the attractions. But yeah, so
That's called nostalgia.
it's true.
It's a thing.
It's apparently stronger with shows.
You were there, I mean, for the last thing, and you
Yeah.
had...
Do you want me to talk about it?
Yeah.
Okay, so I showed up at 9:30, and I walked in from the Bugs Land direction of Cars Land, kind of that entrance, just because it seemed quicker. And as I walked around the corner, I looked over to the line, and it was the same as every other night. Like, it was a 5-minute line, maybe 10 tops. And I was like, oh, okay. And then I walked over to the front, and there was like probably 6 to a dozen people that were standing by the door because they wanted to be on the last one. But even like as I waited till 10 o'clock, like the line never really got any longer. And I thought that was really indicative to the whole thing is just kind of like, even for the last night, it wasn't getting bigger. And I think of like the last Drawn to the Magic or the last Electric Parade, like it was packed. And even the very last ride, which we put up on YouTube, if you watch through to the end of the ride, there's a few scattered claps, but there's no like cheers, there's no like real heavy emotion. Like it was very just kind of subdued and like, oh, okay, it's over now. Now what should we do? I guess we can take a picture here before we walk away. and that's what it felt like. There just wasn't that same emotional, whatever. And I didn't even really like. Sometimes I've seen when things have ended, like cast members getting really emotional, and I didn't observe that. That doesn't mean it didn't happen, but there wasn't really it was just kind of like, oh, okay, we're done. And I kind of feel like that's the story of Luigi's Flying Tires was, oh, we're here. Oh, we're taking away the balls. Oh, we're done.
Bye.
Yeah, so I really do hope whatever comes next, this car thing is a little bit more magical, maybe perhaps. Like, just has more. Like, I just want some, like, this could have had more. I feel like if it moved quicker, it just wasn't quite all the way there. There was tons of potential, but just not realized. And so I hope they realize more potential with whatever replaces it. All right. Well, yesterday was President's Day, and that means that we celebrate our president's birthdays, but really it's more pointed at President Lincoln at the Disneyland Resort, because that was somebody who was near and dear to Walt Disney's heart, and you hear stories of him going in and dressing up as Abe Lincoln during school, and obviously we have great moments with Mr. Lincoln on Main Street in the Opera House, so we thought we would play this for you today.
Lincoln. The presentation you're about to see is the one that most closely relates to the original version that opened in the 1964 World's Fair in Queens, New York, and they debuted here at the Disneyland Opera House in 1965. And we classify this as a Disney treasure not only because it features the first human audio animatronic ever developed, but because it was directed by Walt Disney himself. Now this afternoon you get to see Mr. Lincoln vividly brought to life as never before with brand new technologies. That first human audio animatronic ever developed has now become the most advanced audio animatronic figure within the Walt Disney Company. And ladies and gentlemen, through the magic of Disney, we invite you to relive great moments with Mr. Lincoln.
Ladies and gentlemen, we welcome you to Great Moments with Mr. Lincoln. This was the American dream, the prayer for the future. But that golden goal was not to be had without cost. The American way was not gained in a day. It was born in adversity, forged out of conflict, perfected and proven only after long experience and trial. In all of history, no man was dedicated to this dream more than the 16th President of these United States, Abraham Lincoln. Here in his own words is what he once wrote about himself. For at that time, very few people outside Illinois knew very much about this man from the prairie.
I was born February 12th, 1809, in Hardin County, Kentucky. My father removed from Kentucky to what is now Spencer County, Indiana, in my 8th year. It was a wild region, with many bears and other wild animals still in the woods. There I grew up. I was large for my age, and had an axe put into my hands at once. And from that to my 23rd year, was almost constantly handling that most useful instrument. I think that the aggregate of all my schooling did not amount to 1 year. At 21, I came to Illinois. Thought of trying to study law. Rather thought I could not succeed at that without better education. I borrowed some law books, took them home, and went at it in good earnest. In 1854, the law profession had almost superseded the thought of politics in my mind, when the repeal of the Missouri Compromise aroused me as I had never been before. What I have done since then is pretty well known. If any personal description of me is thought desirable, it may be said I am in height, 6 feet 4 inches, nearly, lean in flesh, weighing on an average of 180 pounds, dark complexion, with coarse black hair and gray eyes, and no other marks or brands recollected. Yours very truly, A. Lincoln.
Abraham Lincoln became president faced with the terrible threat of civil war, a thing he dreaded, yet a calamity he was prepared to meet if he must.
Without union, the Constitution is only a piece of paper. I know there is a God, and that he hates injustice and slavery. I see the storm coming, and I know his hand is in it. If he has a place and work for me, and I think he has, I believe I'm ready. And with God's help, I shall not fail.
April 12, 1861, Fort Sumter. The cannons spoke for war. Civil war, violent, devastating. Now had come the reckoning, the supreme test that would decide whether a republic founded on liberty could survive the terrible strife of men's passions.
Two brothers on their way, two brothers on their way, two brothers on their way. One wore blue and one wore gray. One wore blue and one wore gray as they marched along their way. The fife and drum began to play, all on a beautiful morning. One was gentle, one was kind. One was gentle, one was kind. One came home, one stayed behind. A cannonball don't pay no mind. A cannonball don't pay no mind. If you're gentle or if you're kind. It don't think of the folks behind. All on a beautiful morning. All on a beautiful morning.
87 years ago, our fathers brought forth on this continent a new nation, conceived in liberty and dedicated to the proposition that all men are created equal. Now we are engaged in a great civil war, testing whether that nation, or any nation so conceived and so dedicated, can long endure.
10 brief sentences, so simple, so direct. Abraham Lincoln had not expected his words to live beyond their temporary moment, but time and history would dictate otherwise. And so today, his Gettysburg Address is immortal, a rich and treasured part of our country's heritage. We pay tribute here not to a man who lived a century ago, but to an individual who lives today in the hearts of all freedom-loving people. His prophetic words are as valid for our time as they were for his. And now, the skills of the sculptor and the talents of the artist will let us relive great moments with Mr. Lincoln.
The world has never had a good definition of the word liberty. And the American people just now are much in want of one. We all declare for liberty, but in using the same word, we do not all mean the same thing. What constitutes the bulwark of our liberty and independence? It is not our frowning battlements, our bristling seacoasts. These are not our reliance against tyranny. Our reliance is in the love of liberty, which God has planted in our bosoms. Our defense is in the preservation of the spirit which prizes liberty as the heritage of all men, in all lands, everywhere. Destroy this spirit, and you have planted the seeds of despotism around your own doors. At what point shall we expect the approach of danger? By what means shall we fortify against it? Shall we expect some transatlantic military giant to step the ocean and crush us with a blow? Never. All the armies of Europe, Asia, and Africa combined could not by force take a drink from the Ohio or make a track on the Blue Ridge in a trial of 1,000 years. At what point, then, is the approach of danger to be expected? I answer, if it ever reach us, it must spring from amongst us. It cannot come from abroad. If destruction be our lot, we ourselves must be its author and finisher. As a nation of free men, we must live through all times, or die by suicide. Neither let us be slandered from our duty by false accusations against us, nor frightened from it by the menaces of destruction to the government, nor of dungeons to ourselves. Let us have faith that right makes might. And in that faith, let us to the end dare to do our duty as we understand it.
And that was Great Moments with Mr. Lincoln. I guess the question, what are you guys laughing at me for? We just have
I'm very moved right now.
Thoughts on Great Moments with Mr. Lincoln, if you have any that aren't funny or are funny, I don't know. What do you think of the show? What do you think of the different incarnations of it through the years? anybody who wants
It's
to
my
go.
dad's favorite, so
Is it?
we usually need to do it when we go. I remember when.
Well, he's a history buff, so that totally makes sense.
But when I was younger, I remember hating the version where you put the headphones on,
Oh,
and then
yeah.
it would sound like it was snipping your hair. I hated
You know, we can do that with our new microphones, the in-ear microphones.
Actually, what you're hearing if you listen to it on headphones. So if you rewind this podcast and listen to it on headphones, you get a little bit of that effect with. Well, not the hair cutting pun.
They don't have that anymore.
Maybe we'll insert that in after.
Oh my
But we have 3D sound.
Murray, what do you think of the show through the years in its current incarnation, all of those things?
I'm glad that they had the original version, or what's close to an original version. And probably the part that's not original is the
Two Brothers.
Two Brothers song. Yep.
I would get rid of that.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I like that song.
I don't.
Oh.
It's out of the girl's range. She's trying to sing too low. It drives me crazy every time because I stress
It's a
when
folk
she's going
song.
for that low note. It.
Says the musician.
I'm just
Everybody
being
else.
honest. Oh, it's a pretty song. No, it's not.
Well, it's a good folk song.
It
which
is a good folk song.
What it's supposed
but
to be for
I don't know.
the. Yeah.
I get it,
But
just don't agree with it.
But I like the originality. I like the new animatronic. So.
And I
a
like
great show.
the kind of vintage, I guess you could say, opening with the different paintings and the choral music, and I like, and the show, the pre-show, I really like too, where they kind of go through the history and
How long has
how
that
it
been
came
in
to
there?
being. A couple years.
Okay. I
'Cause
don't
they
go
had-
that often. But
Yeah, they had the ear clipping show that they replaced with the Steve Martin Donald Duck show that
Right.
was then eventually replaced with this.
okay.
But yeah, it's a good thing to see, and I really love seeing the Capitol out in the lobby there. I just think it's gorgeous and it's fun to take pictures of. I never post them; I just take them. I don't know. It seems weird to post a picture of a Capitol from Disneyland. I don't know, and it's true. It's true. Anybody else have any thoughts on Mr. Lincoln and his great moments?
I don't think anything else in the park really reminds me so much of Walt Disney as that. Especially, I just read another biography on Walt Disney, and
Which one?
you know, every
Sorry, I threw you on the spot.
no, that's okay. You just put me on the spot. I can probably pull it up in my iBooks.
Oh, okay. I was going to ask you what the cover looked like, but that's not going to work.
It's got a picture of Walt Disney on it.
Is it Bob
No, it's
Thomas,
one
you
of the
know,
more popular
Gabler?
ones.
Yeah, there's a few of them. Okay.
I think it's
I really like the Bob Thomas one. But anyway, continue on about
Thomas.
Abe Lincoln.
Anyway, every time you kind of read about it and you read about that time in Walt's life, it's a very kind of interesting time to see him building the park, and it's where he started becoming interested in trains and animatronics. And you know, when you think about it, he was really the only person to kind of try and push that to an art form, which I really feel like they did. So it's kind of nice to see the Hall of Presidents still get love. It's nice to see that it's still important to the park, especially because that, you know, he had to work so hard at it and push so hard, and I don't know. For me, I feel like it is such a part of Disneyland that I kind of hope it's there forever.
Me too. I think it's something that needs to be. It's really a huge part of Walt Disney, and even from a historical standpoint, they should keep it.
I think that the animatronic that is featured in Great Moments with Mr. Lincoln, I think it's kind of been the technology pusher for all of the rest of the stuff in the park. You guys feel that way? It's always that
agree.
animatronic is always the one that's state of the art, the one that they keep
Well, and even
updating.
think of like the big thing when it came out was his face having 32 muscles or whatever, and so the
hydraulics,
elasticity.
yeah.
And you think now jump over to Cars Land, and you've got similar technology. I think with Mater on Radiator Springs Racers with his face and how it moves. I was just thinking of the D23 Expo, and you got to see that moving, and I was like, that's very. You know, it might not be identical, but it's similar, and you can see they probably learned lessons here that they applied everywhere else.
I'm waiting for him to walk across the stage.
I might run away.
The first time I went to Cars Land, it was an experience because I did go take a picture with Mater, with my husband, and, you know, having a conversation with an animatronic Cars It's amazing.
Oh, it's real.
And then Lightning McQueen came down the street, and the fact that we live in a world where we can have
Living,
talking,
breathing cars.
animatronic cars is amazing to me.
They're real.
They are. They are real.
It's true.
And I love that.
And soon we'll get to see more on the Main Street new electric parade called
I
Paint the
know, I
Night.
can't
We
wait.
just circled the whole podcast around. See what we did there? Let's wrap this thing up with a discussion, or maybe just a few names thrown out there, of what we think are underrated Disney films and why. So whoever wants to go first, one of the girls perhaps, because ladies first.
I really like Sky High. I wasn't joking.
It's a good movie.
It's a great movie. I think it's an underrated gem because I think that the trouble with it was that it came out at the same time as that other terrible movie I watched the other day, and it's so bad I can't remember the name of it, but it has
Maybe you
Courtney
should watch it
Cox
again.
and Tim Allen. And it was basically Zoom. That's what it was called. It was called Zoom.
I'd forgotten about
And it
that
was,
one.
oh, it was,
That one's
it
an
was so bad.
overrated, underrated film.
So bad. But I always liked Sky High. I thought it had a really nice cast. I thought it had a really nice story, and I kind of always held out hope for a sequel. But it, to me, is really funny to see Danielle Panabaker on The Flash. Because I'm like, hey, she was Layla. She was a superhero once. She had tree powers. And I don't know, I thought it was a really cute story, and I think it's a little underrated. And anything that has Bruce Campbell playing a coach is good in my book.
It's true.
I really like that one.
Annie, you're up.
I don't know, because the movies that I'm thinking of are older, like classic Disney movies.
Like what?
Like
We'll see
Horse
if
in the
they're-
Gray Flannel Suit. I
would
loved that
count that.
movie. I would love that movie when I was growing
Yeah,
up.
that was a
But
classic.
is it underrated just because it's not our generation?
Well, it didn't do that well in the box office.
Okay.
And
I-
in fact, a lot of those, it was more of like they did medium well,
Mm-hmm.
and it wasn't like you had huge blockbusters, but you just had lots of them that were decently.
I
moving
wanted a
along.
horse named Aspercell really bad.
Aspercell, Aspercell, when it's sick, it makes you well. Isn't that how it goes?
I don't remember
I think
that
it
part.
is. I totally just had.
Well,
that
I would
like-
just the horse. That's all.
Yeah,
That's
okay.
all I cared about.
Okay. Horse in the gray flannel suit. Caitlin, you're up.
I've been trying to push, because I work at a school, so I've been trying to push Emperor's New Groove, and the kids are like, what's that? And I'm like, oh my gosh, it's so
That-
funny.
That one's fantastic.
It's so funny,
It's
and the
on
kids
Net-
have no idea.
Netflix,
That is
like, top
definitely
Critics'
the
choice
most
right now.
Yeah,
that is the most underrated animated film, if you
Yes.
ask me.
Yeah. We had a rainy day about a week ago, and so we had the middle school kids in, and we put up Netflix. And they're like, no, we want to watch this. And we're like, no, we can't. And so I just put up Emperor's New Groove, and they're like, we don't know what this movie is. And too bad, it's funny, you're going to watch it.
That hurts me.
How can you not?
That hurts me
Did
as
they
a
like Kronk?
person.
We didn't get very far in the movie, but they did. I mean, they enjoyed the parts that they saw, but I think it's hilarious and it's very underappreciated.
I think I still quote that movie
Yep.
more than any other movie on the planet.
At least Disney.
And Kronk,
yeah.
Kronk is just probably
Yes.
Kronk and Yzma are probably the two greatest characters ever created.
Yes.
They're amazing.
That is actually my favorite Disney animated film.
I knew this.
Yeah.
We've had this discussion.
And you know what? You have good taste.
Thank you.
You get the
Clearly,
Danny Award.
he's on Dapscast. Murray, what's your favorite underrated Disney film?
I was thinking of Black Hole.
Oh, really?
It's it's weird. I will admit
It's very weird.
It's very sci-fi, but there's some kind of fun characters. They're robots too, are the ones that I'm thinking of. Like there's just quirky, funny robots. The ending is very bizarre, I'll admit. So you could almost just stop right before the very end and you're fine.
That might be better.
But,
Yeah. Yeah, I'm trying to decide which one I would go with because I've got several, but some of them are really, really bad. And maybe The
Well-
Rescuers Down Under. Like I really
Oh,
like
yeah.
this.
I like the
That I love
Rescuers.
Like I think that one's good. No, the bad one I was thinking of because then I was like, well, maybe we should do another segment that's like the worst Disney films that you love.
Oh,
And
I've got a list.
We're gonna save that for next time because I've got a list too, and that's just like, oh, that one's really bad and it's awesome. But we'll do that next time. So yeah, I'm gonna go with Rescuers Down Under. It's got a fantastic voice cast. It's got a great soundtrack, and the animation's pretty good for the time. Also,
I
like
quote that one too. That's a good movie.
yeah, George C. Scott. Come on, like really. We're done. Yeah, so I think that's all we've got for this week, this bi-weekly, this monthly, this I don't know when we're going to record next podcast. We hope you've enjoyed it. We hope you share it. We hope you subscribe. Oh, and we'd love if you would rate us on iTunes, right? Is that what we're supposed to do? Mm-hmm. Give us a rating on iTunes, preferably all the stars and not none of them, because we like that better and it'll make us smile. And when we smile more, we're funnier and we're more entertaining to listen to. But that is all we have for you this time around, and we look forward to chatting with you next time.